He is from the Nashville area. He works with several business owners and different types of professionals. He has a diverse client list. He's to speakers, authors, in the music industry, professionals. He is a featured speaker at the several chambers of commerce and national and regional conferences. His focus is on email marketing and internet marketing and search engine optimization. Today, at the end of the seminar, he'll also be presenting a gift card to Starbucks and his e-book and a free 30-minute phone consultation. And I think that his assistant is collecting business cards, and that's how the drawing is going to be given. So if you'll just welcome Mr. Coleman, and you'll enjoy his information. Thank you.
All right. I'm ready. All right, today we're going to be talking about email marketing, simple strategies for success. How many people in here are already using email marketing in your business? How many people using social media in your business? Got to be talking about that tomorrow. You know, the world is changing so fast today, it's hard to keep up with everything. Anybody ever had a bag phone? Anybody remember those? Yeah. I saw a thing on the news a few weeks ago, and they were talking about how technology has advanced. Those bag phones cost $8,000 when they first came out. And people complain because they have to spend $100 on something the size of this that used to take a room twice this size to have this much processing power. So we've come a long way. So email marketing, social media, all these new tools we have available to us are really great things to use to help to promote ourselves, to market our services. This is my contact information. You'll see a sheet at the end of each aisle. If you fill out your information on that sheet, then I'll be sending you a copy of the slides and an ebook and some other really valuable resources that'll help you in your business. The agenda for today, we're going to talk about campaigns, newsletters, email marketing best practices. We're going to talk about email and social because you really have to use both. Email marketing drives your social media strategy, and we'll talk about how that works. And then some next steps. 3 things that I want you to get out of the presentation today. Number 1, I want you to know how to lay a solid foundation for your email marketing strategy. And the second thing I want you to leave here with are some best practices that you can start implementing as soon as you leave here to help you be more effective in your email marketing. And the third thing is I want you to see how easy it is to do this type marketing in your business. And I want you to be confident in the fact that you can do this. If you can use Word, then you can do this. And believe me, I just learned how to use a steno machine. I say learned loosely. I know what one looks like now. Much respect, believe me. Okay, at its core, marketing involves 3 things. You define your target audience, you deliver content to that audience that they want to receive, and you elicit a physical, measurable response. The physical, measurable response is the key. If you're sending emails out and your audience is attorneys, for example, you're trying to get their attention, you want to be delivering content to them that they want to read or something interesting to them. And we'll talk about some content development strategies. So what is a campaign? A campaign is basically pushing content out to your target audience and eliciting that response. And by the way, I looked at what companies and small businesses are spending on marketing today. The number one thing they're spending money on is content development. That's the most important aspect of your marketing, learning how to write and learning how to communicate effectively, both verbally and with a written word. The second thing they're spending money on is search engine optimization. The third thing, email marketing. And the fourth thing, social media. And you may be thinking, okay, why are they spending more on email marketing than social media? Because all I hear about is Facebook and Twitter and all these other tools. Well, the reason is social media has what's called a decay factor. And what a decay factor is, let's say, for example, you post something on Facebook at 10 o'clock this morning, 5, 6, 7 o'clock this afternoon, it's off the feed. And that's called a decay factor. So if they don't see it during that time frame, they may not see it. And that's why I always recommend people posting to social media, maybe post it 2 or 3 times during the day. And we'll talk about some strategies like that tomorrow during the social media session. So what is a newsletter? A newsletter is simply the vehicle, the tool you use to get that content out to your target audience. That's all a newsletter consists of. And it's a great way to build your list. The larger your list, the more success you'll have in any business. I don't care if you're selling yellow widgets or service, you're going to have more success. And it goes straight to their inbox. Different types of newsletters, just kind of a keep your audience in the know, then just a regular newsletter, cards or announcements, business letter, press release. You can create a custom coded email, meaning you can use HTML, which is the code used to build websites and that kind of thing, to create a custom newsletter template. So what do you write about? This is the big thing that people struggle with. I have a newsletter, I have a list, I'm doing social media, but every day I get up and I just dread looking at this blank page because I don't know what I'm going to post. I don't know what I'm going to write about. And it has to be something more than a picture of your hamburger. Or better, oh, I forgot, I'm sorry, I meant to take a selfie. Got to do that. Can't get in public without taking a selfie. So the big thing people struggle with, how do you create content? What do you write about? One thing you write about, what you know that they don't know. And never assume they don't, that they know what you know. Because each of us, there's so much knowledge, there's such a wealth of knowledge and information in this room with all of you that can be shared with people. Is it new information? Probably not, but it's your perspective, it's your take on that information. And that's the important part, writing something you know that they don't in your unique voice. And by the way, there's not much original. I'm going to give you real quick, a little off topic here, but real quick, I want to give you 2 books that I recommend you read. One of them is Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins. The other one is My Life in Advertising by Claude Hopkins. And both these books, pretty much everything you see on sales and marketing came from these 2 books. It's just rehashed information. And by the way, these books were written in the 1920s. He didn't talk a lot about Facebook, but it's really good information. The other thing you can write about, what you have access to that they don't. Because we all have industry publications, we have maybe membership sites we're a part of, access to seminars, webinars that other people don't have access to. They may need that information, but they don't have access to it. So you share that information with them. So original, I just mentioned, is not required. Hate to burst your bubble, but you're probably not going to write anything that hasn't been written before in one way or another. How much is enough? Less is more. People have a really short attention span. Has anybody noticed that? Really short attention span. We were in Chattanooga a couple of months ago, and we were going into town, and we were scanning local radio stations, and this DJ came on, and he was talking about popcorn sales. He said that microwave popcorn sales, when they first started selling microwave popcorn, people were just clamoring for this product. They were like, are you kidding me? In a minute and a half, 2 minutes, I've got hot buttered popcorn? You got to be joking. Now, microwave popcorn sales are plummeting, being replaced by pre-popped popcorn. Because guess what? You want me to wait a minute and a half on a microwave? Are you kidding me? No way. So less is more. Focus. Focus is key. And by the way, this little device here, most people are running their business on their cell phone. There are probably people in here right now, I see you, halfway paying attention. But you're doing business on your smartphone, and that's good. You know, it's good that we can do that now. We have such convenience in our lives now. So it's good that you take advantage of that. But most people are doing business on their iPhone, smartphone, tablet, that kind of thing. You know, a few years back, the desktop became a paperweight. Now the laptop is starting to become a paperweight. People want smaller and smaller devices. A picture is worth 1,000 words. We're in an image-based world now. People want to see pictures. They don't want to take the time to read a 500-word article. They want pictures to communicate the message to them. Pictures get 47% more click-through activity than content without images. And by the way, if you have a blog on your website, it's been shown if you put images for every blog you post, if you put an image with that, you'll increase your readership 85 to 100%. You'll increase the chances that someone will read that blog post. But don't over-rely on images. Be sure to use text labels in case images aren't displayed by the recipient's email program. For example, Microsoft Outlook, by default, has images turned off. So just be aware of that. And that's why you need to use things like alt tags. What an alt tag is, really, I'll give you a really quick SEO tip for those of you doing your own website or if you have a web designer doing it. What I want you to do, go to your website, look at the source code. If you don't know how to do this, get your web designer to do it. Find all your images. Next to each one of those images, you'll see an alt, A-L-T, equal, quote, quote. Hopefully there's something in that quote, quote. If there's not, put something there. That's a great way to bump your search engine optimization just a little. And what that tag does, for example, somebody goes to your site, they don't have images turned on, it'll display that text instead. And that's all that is. Don't use images for your content. Again, from an SEO perspective, if you put content in an image and put that image in your newsletter or social media, the search engines can't read that. They just see the image. And remember, your content is viewed on mobile devices. Anything you do, anything you send, anything you do online, your website, anything you have, look at it on your smartphone because that's how most people are going to view it. And what you want is, if you are getting ready to build a website or thinking about redesigning, what you want is responsive web design. That's what you want to ask for. And all responsive web design is when someone looks at the site on their smartphone, on their tablet, on their laptop, their computer, they have the same experience, the same look and feel, basically. But use images carefully. Notice this red spot over here. That's where an image should be, but it's not displaying because they have images turned off or something. And sometimes you can just have something like that, but even that, you're asking them to page down to get to the main content. You just lost about a third of your audience because I ain't going to page down. You just asked me to do two things. Two things. For everything you ask someone to do when they're engaging with you online, you're going to lose a few people. And here, pretty obvious, if I want page down, I'm sure not going to be on my phone trying to move an image around. I'm just going to delete it and move on. Some channels thrive on visuals, newsletters, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. Imagine what a Facebook feed would look like if it was just all text. Pretty boring. How many in here are using Pinterest? Pinterest is a great marketing tool, very underutilized. It started as literally housewives sharing recipes and wedding gown photos. And now it's turned into this marketing machine. Google, and we'll get more into this tomorrow also, Google real estate agent Pinterest, or whatever, Google court reporters Pinterest, and just see what some of your associates are doing on Pinterest. You'd be surprised. Repurpose and reuse. The great thing is you want to produce a lot of content because Google likes a lot of content. They don't like duplicate content, but they like a lot of content. So here's what I mean by repurpose and reuse. Let's say you write a blog post on your website, take that same information, put it in your newsletter, take that same information, put it on Facebook, link to it from LinkedIn, Twitter, all your social media channels, and reuse it. One word of caution in repurposing and reusing content: don't just take your blog, copy, paste it verbatim into your newsletter or into your social media. Because even though Google likes a lot of content, they don't like duplicate content. So what you do to get around that is you maybe change your title a little bit. It can be about the same topic, but change your title a little bit. Change your content, make it a little longer, a little shorter, change some sentences, just minor things, so it's not an exact copy of what you just wrote. And that's a good way to produce a lot of content without having to reproduce content over and over and over. Now, later, or never. Remember, we're very, very impatient. We don't like microwave popcorn anymore. So you have to get their attention really quickly. And one of the most important things in email marketing is getting someone to actually open your email. You get it sent to them, but how are you going to make them open it? So it's important that the from line is clear. Subject line, great subject line. Newsletter, March 2014 is not a good subject line, by the way. And when you send your communications, very important to know when to send your communications. And I'm going to give you a quick exercise you can run through over the next few months for those of you doing email marketing that will help you find out the best day and the best time to send your newsletter. Who is it from? Winning the battle of priorities. Because people are going through their phone or on their tablet, and they're just paging through here. They're really fast with their thumb. It's easy to page through here, delete, 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 trash, spam, spam, spam. Easy to do that. So you've got to get their attention, and you've got to make sure you're recognized. So remember, anything you're doing, you want to send it to your smartphone first before you send it to someone else, so you'll know how they view it. How will you be most recognizable? I'm sure most of you in here are independent, or maybe work with an agency. More than likely what you're going to want is, for example, facebook.com/your name or something to that effect. Because even if you have a business name, if you're a small business, most people don't care. If you meet someone at a networking meeting, they're not going to go home and Google your business. They're going to go home and Google you. They're going to Google your name and learn something about you. And I always recommend people do that periodically. You never know. I speak to small groups and large groups, and I see people out there with their phones. I don't know if they're texting, watching cartoons. I don't know what they're doing. So I'm always Googling my name to see if there's anything out there. And periodically I'll find a video or something. But you have to be monitoring your brand all the time. And your name is your brand. For these, you want to try to have all of them the same, like Facebook.com/your name, Twitter.com/your name, that type thing. If you're like me, Mike Coleman is the most common name ever created. There are probably 10 in here somewhere. We've lived all over the country, and everywhere we've lived, there have been several Mike Colemans. One in Nashville a few years back was a Navy recruiter. I got calls all the time. So if you're like me and you can't use your name on everything because somebody already has it, at least have your Twitter and LinkedIn accounts the same, because that's going to be the same audience, basically, that you're going to be reaching out to. And be sure and abide by the Can-Spam Act. Everything we're talking about is permission-based marketing. I would never come to a convention like this, and for those of you giving me your business cards, rest assured you're not going on my list, because I have to have your permission to send an email. If you want to be on it, let me know. I'll be glad to put you on it. But you can't go to a place like this, get a lot of business cards, throw them in your newsletter, and start sending everybody a newsletter. You get reported as spam. So it's very important to abide by that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that situation. I had someone I know had a client list of about 600 or 700 people. And they'd done business with them at some point over the past 4 or 5 years, so they said, well, you know, they're my clients or past clients, so I'll just upload the list and send them a newsletter. Well, he did that and got shut down because some of these people hadn't communicated with him in a few years. And they weren't expecting to receive the newsletter, so they just clicked the spam button and reported him. And by law, that's not a constant contact thing or anything like that. By law, if you get so many spam reports, you have to be shut down. They have to shut you down by law. So just be aware of that. You do need permission. Look great, brand consistency. If you have a website with a red background, don't put a blue background on your newsletter or on your social media platforms, your Twitter background, which for those of you on Twitter, you know the Twitter background has changed dramatically in the past couple of months. Subject line. When you talk to professional writers, they'll tell you they spend 80% of their time writing the title of the article and 20% of the time writing the actual article. They don't spend a lot of time on that. Same thing with subject lines. You want to put some time in your subject line because remember, you've got a short time span. You know how much time people spend on a website now? 2 seconds. 2 seconds. And that's another thing to think about on your website. When someone comes to your website, you want them to see what they need right there. You want your social media icons there. You want your newsletter sign up there. You want everything right there, first fold. You don't want to have to make them page down to get what they need. Because the goal of your website is to get them to request a free copy of your newsletter and to engage with them on social media. So make those your priorities when they come to your website. And then you have that ongoing communication with them. So subject line, you have 2 seconds, 2 words. Remember, on the smartphone, small space, so they're probably going to see the first 2 or 3 words. Today, a sense of urgency. I'll give you another quick bit of information that will benefit you a lot. How to write a great call to action. This is not a good call to action. Call BR549. Anybody know what BR549 is? Thank you, 2 people and me. Most of, hee-haw, thank you. That's a horrible call to action. This is a great call to action. Call BR549 before 10 o'clock Tuesday morning. to receive 20% off my services. You've told them what to do, when to do it, you put a time constraint on it, and why they need to do it. What's in it for me? It's always what's in it for me. That's what people are thinking. And you'll use calls to action everywhere, and you may be able to work it out with your subject line. Winning the battle of priorities with your subject line, March newsletter. I cannot wait to open that. That's pretty exciting. Tomorrow, I need 3 hammers. Can you help? And here's the great thing about this. Tomorrow, I need 3 hammers. You're probably going to see only tomorrow, need 3. That's going to make you open that newsletter. That's going to engage you a little bit. Joe's Pet Store. I'm a pet lover, but I don't know about Joe. Alert. Help your dog beat the heat. That gets your attention. Children's classes. I don't know. Still time. Openings available for children's classes or limited openings. Oh, no, you're not going to tell me I can't get in. I'm opening this. I'm getting in. That's how people think. When to send. This is a really, really important part. Monthly is most common. I wouldn't go quarterly, if at all possible. People forget about you really quickly. As soon as you leave their line of sight, they're on to something else, if not before. Remember, short attention spans. Ask yourself, when are my readers likely to take action? So here's how you find your best day. Take your list. If you're using something like Constant Contact or if you're using another professional email service provider, you probably have this capability to segment your list. So let's say, to make it easy, you have a list of 99 people. So you'll take 33, put in list A, 33 and put in list B, and 33 and put in list C. Then select 3 days of the week, and just for example, send list A on Tuesday afternoon, send list B on Thursday morning, send list C on Friday afternoon. Try that for 2 or 3 months. Look at your reports. See what your open rate is, whichever day had the highest open rate. Then take that day and that same list A, list B, list C, same group of people, and send it at 3 different times of the day. For example, 9 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the evening. I had a guy at a workshop, he was a photographer, and he tried this and found by far almost 30% higher was 5 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. Who would have thought? Had another person who worked on this for about 5 months, testing different times and days, and found his highest open rate was 6 a.m. Sunday morning. But I understand. 4 o'clock Sunday morning, I'm up and at 'em, and I cannot wait to check my email. How about you? Am I the only one? Okay. But the point of that story is you have to know your audience. When are their prime times? You have to know when they're reading their email, when they're active online. His audience that was reading at 6 o'clock in the morning consisted of musicians. And like around here, the bars close 3 or 4 o'clock. So they're just getting home from the gig and checking their email. So you have to know your audience. All right, when to send and post.